Hello, welcome back. Thank you for joining me here, and as always, for doing what you're doing right now. Dedicating time to your spiritual practice, whatever that may look like. It's of great importance, so I thank you for that. Today, we're going to talk about nothing less than forgiveness and healing and waking up. What else? We've all reached the point, I know you've reached the point where you may have tried this, you may have tried that. You may say, as we colloquially say here in the world, you've tried it all. Well, and over the course of time, that may very well be the case. A number of people come to the study and practice of A Course in Miracles after having tried this, having tried that, this modality, that modality, having been raised in one church or one religion and switched or left it partly or left it completely, whatever the case may be. This material found you for a reason. So if you're not sure what that is, I invite you to stick around because there is a message here in this video today, as well as all of them. Each and every one of them contains a message, and most likely more than one message from the Holy Spirit, our inner teacher, who is part of our mind, not foreign to us, happily, not outside us, not some extraneous little CEO dancing around pretending he's so wonderful in his superiority and separation from us. No, none of that. The Holy Spirit is part of our mind. Let that sink in. You're invited to listen to its message right now. The main message today is that you are the dreamer. We're the dreamer of the dream. This is a dream. Definitely a dream. Definitely a dream. All of it. We're the dreamer. It's very, very important to realize this point. So we're going to harp on it today. Repeat, repeat. You are the dreamer. Why is this important? Well, if you're wondering, it's a very good question. We tend to think of ourselves here. In fact, as we run amok, we race about doing life, doing our job, vacuuming the floor, eating breakfast, all the stuff, checking our email. Yeah, all of that stuff that we do on the daily. We tend to think of ourselves as an effect. We tend to think of ourselves as figures in the dream. Look no further than what appears to be you. Appears, appears to be you. The physical body, which we take to be us and attempt to please in every single way we possibly can. We attempt to make it comfortable, and we take it to be us. We believe that it's real, that it's a real thing, and that all of the other bodies are real things too, separate, of course, from us, because that's what we erroneously think. And we see the entire world as outside us, surrounding us, as home sweet home. And we think that we're just another life form on wobbling, spinning ball of rock, a figure in the dream, in other words. Very seldom, if ever, do we stop, as you're invited to stop right now, and accept that you're the dreamer, not the figure in the dream. This is very, very important. Jesus is addressing the dreamer, you, mind. He's addressing the mind that needs healing. It appears to be sick because it has conflict all over it, inside it. It is conflicted. It is that needs to be healed. Mind. This is a course in mind training that addresses you as the dreamer, as mind. A dreamer has simply fallen asleep and does not recognize that he sleeps or that she sleeps. Huh. It's just like dreaming a dream when we're asleep at night or taking a nap in the afternoon or something. The images that we see in the dream appear very real, don't they? No matter what they're doing, and often they violate what we see as laws of physics, of Newtonian physics and stuff. I mean, we fly around in a dream, we switch scenes, one rapid scene at a time after another. We're in different places at once, communicating with other beings. We're jumping, we're flying. All kinds of stuff appears to be going on, and it looks and feels and may taste or even smell and sound real in the dream. Yet we awaken, and what happens to the images that seemed so real to us? Exactly. They are gone. Same. That's why they call enlightenment awakening. That's a very apt, very, very apt term. So, Jesus, in giving the course, is addressing the dreamer. You are the dreamer. This does mean, and not conveniently for us, that we've made this up. We can set it aside. That's the beautiful part, the uplifting part. And you may not find that that is uplifting at first because you may take a look at this and think, oh, wow, I've got a lot of work to do. Everybody's thought that, right? I've got a lot of forgiveness lessons. Oh man. Yeah. Well, and I missed this one 5 minutes ago and that one 5 seconds ago. All right. Well, we have only the present moment and we get to choose. This is a beautiful thing. It's very empowering when you begin to perceive this and then keep perceiving that this is empowering and wonderful, that you get to choose. You get to choose. We get to make a choice right now. Even while we appear to be dreaming and suffering and have bills to pay, and things are happening not on our own ego-centric timeline, and we wish they had happened yesterday, but they haven't yet, and all of that stress and worry and all of the stuff, even in the midst of what we call our daily life, we have the present moment right now and the ability to choose in the present moment. What are we choosing? Well, let's start with choosing a happier dream. How about that? That's how awakening proceeds here. Now, it's very tempting to think and even to ask Jesus or the Holy Spirit to rip the veil off of us so that we're instantly awakened. Do we have to go through this time consuming, so it appears, process? Do we have to go through this process of forgiveness and bringing all of our darkness to light? Oh, come on, man. Do we have to? Can't you just enlighten me like that right now? Please, pretty please. I'll be nice. Well, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way because what if having the veil removed spontaneously and instantaneously would terrify you? What if it would produce much fear? Well, the Holy Spirit is kind and knows what will and won't produce existential terror. So, if spontaneous awakening would produce such existential terror, i.e., you'll feel like you're dying because your ego is gone, their precious sense of individuality. Yeah, if the Holy Spirit knows that, and trust me, he does, then we get a gradual process. And it looks like it is long sometimes, but we get a process. You never get more than you're capable of handling, which can be quite a relief and something that's very uplifting here in the dream because there are days where it feels like I got everything I can handle. Well, you won't get more than that. So, the way that this whole process works is we exchange a punitive and sick and insane dream for a forgiving dream. We choose to look at our experience with the Holy Spirit instead of the ego, taking the Holy Spirit as our teacher 100%, and look at things differently. And what looks like the path, and we call it that, the spiritual path, what looks like a process of awakening, is exchanging one illusion for a more forgiving dream, exchanging hatred for love. We awaken peacefully and gently and as gradually as need be under the guidance of the Holy Spirit. So, in case you're wondering about the pure non-dual nature of the teachings of A Course in Miracles, by the way, pure non-duality says this: God is the only reality, period. All else is illusion, as you well know, or you would not be on the spiritual path at all. So, forgiveness is a dream. Our conflicts, our battles, our internal strife is a dream. The world itself is a dream. Physical bodies are dreams. Yeah, forgiveness is a dream. Here's the difference. It is the only dream that leads toward truth rather than away from it. All of our dreams of separation and conflict, where we think we're different from our brother, we think we're better, we think we're inferior, we think we suck, we think he sucks, we think she's an idiot, we think he's a complete moron, and we're talking to each other nicely one minute, yelling at each other the next, or if we're not yelling at each other, we're thinking negative thoughts in our mind about them. Judge, 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 blame, judge, blame, judge. Yeah, that, you know, what passes for our daily life. All of it a painful illusion. So as we forgive, we exchange these painful illusions for calmer dreams, forgiving dreams, loving dreams. Forgiveness is still a dream, but it leads to truth rather than away from it. So it is the only dream that we can consider useful. Therefore, we need it to awaken. It is the practical centerpiece of A Course in Miracles. And if you've been doing this for a while, any length of time at all, you'll know that. Yeah. So why is forgiveness also a dream? Well, there's nothing to forgive. In truth, there's nothing to forgive. There is only perfect oneness. God is the only reality, remember? You're the Son of God, the creation of God, the thought of God. Thoughts remain in the mind of the thinker. Ideas leave not their source. You've never left your source, capital S. That's what's really going on. This is a dream, remember? But we don't recognize that we're sleeping. So the miracle of true forgiveness reminds us that we're the dreamer and that we can choose differently while we still appear to be here sleeping. We can choose a more loving dream of awakening. When we've forgiven completely, truth dawns of itself. That's awakening, enlightenment, liberation, a realization of God, whatever you want to call it. And it's called different things in different spiritual traditions. Yeah, truth dawns of itself. We know God, knowledge, in other words. Reality is beyond all illusions. It's beyond all of our concepts, including language. It is. It's perfect oneness. God is, period. The only reality. Thoughts remain in the mind of the thinker, the Son of God, i.e., all of us, not just the historical Jesus, mind you, but all of us, the Son of God, singular, God's creation remains in the mind of the Creator. Always. You've always known. Doesn't mean you have to acknowledge that. You could disagree, but you've already acknowledged it, or you wouldn't have set foot on the spiritual path at all in the first place. You begin to get a sense as you go along of the inevitability of awakening. Yeah. And you have the opportunity right now in the present moment, should you choose, to speed that up. You don't have to continue to wander aimlessly. You don't have to continue to suffer. You don't have to continue to judge and blame and see your brother's interests as separate from yours. There's no separation of any kind. So while this can be mind-boggling, let's just come back to the main idea today that you're the dreamer. In this acknowledgement comes a lot of power, maybe more than you currently realize. It's possible, right? There's a lot of power in knowing that you have the ability to choose, the power of decision. You can choose right now a waking dream of forgiveness or the same old painful dream of excess activity and frustration. Badge of honor, right, wrong, spinning around, getting nowhere, doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Einstein's definition of insanity. Yeah, I know. Flattering. No, not intended to be, but here we appear to find ourselves spinning round and round, trying this modality, that modality, this modality, that modality. Change jobs here, change residences here, change partners here. Oh yeah, that's going to bring me the peace of God. A new solution in the world's going to bring me the peace of God. No, it's not. And you know it. The solution to all of this is not to be found in the world, rather outside it. And why would that be? There is no world. That is an illusion. The world is an illusion too. After all, if we're safely at home in God, where we've always been, that means that this is a dream. You're the dreamer. You can choose to awaken. And I hope that whatever you have heard that speaks to you, by the way, that's the Holy Spirit speaking to you over the last 20 or so minutes, has inspired you to put these ideas into practice. Now, if it has produced questions, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, what is spirituality after all but deep, deep self-inquiry? So, to the extent that you have questions here about this idea that we're talking about, or anything in the course, or even spirituality in general, I'm more than happy to answer questions for you. Please feel welcome to leave them in the comment thread here on YouTube. And if you have not yet subscribed, please go ahead and do that. This prompt over here that's been up in the corner of your screen is the icon. Click it and join us. Okay? So nobody ever said that this was dull. Nobody ever said, oh, A Course in Miracles, that's really shallow. Yeah, no. I mean, we're not conditioned to see things this way. So it is, in that sense, something that can be very startling, very mind-blowing. Yet it has found you for a reason. You know what that reason is. So I invite you to go forward and to put it into practice. And please don't hesitate, once again, to ask any questions that you may have. All right. Thank you very much for joining me.